Hello there. In this video I'm going to show you how you can make your own personalised animal tag, such as the one that's shown on the screen there, using Fluid Designer for 3D printing. So if we start the Fluid Designer program up, first thing that we need to do is to go to the patterns, and we're going to use the animal patterns. And there's a range of objects available here if you purchase the animal patterns. And I'm just going to use the first one here, which is this bulldog. So I just drag and drop that object onto the workspace, and we can see what the size of it. So it's about 36 mil, something like that, and just over 2 millimeters thick. So what we want to do is to add some text on that to personalize it. So I'll just close down the properties panel there, and we're going to use some fonts to do that. And so if I just have a look in my patterns, let me see. No, I just need to refresh that. So if I just click Group Library just to refresh my patterns, yeah. So I'm going to use this alphabet brush script font, and so these are the characters that we're going to use, and we're going to write the word rover on the top of this bulldog. Okay, so we're going to do that by appending these fonts into our current scene. So I'll just shut that window down a little bit, give me a little bit more to see, and just view that from the top. So it's alphabet brush script fonts. So if we go to File and Append, just go up through the menu system until you get to the Groups folder. This is where all the patterns are kept in Fluid Designer for 3D printing. And I'm going to use patterns. I'm going to use the alphabet brush script font pattern. And I'm going to use a capital R first of all. So I want brush script font R. And we always append objects. So it's the object that I want. We don't want the cross sections, we just want the brush script font R object, and we just append that from the library. You can't quite see that at the moment because as you can see there, if I tilt the object, it's inside the dog tag, the bulldog. So I just need to lift it up slightly there, and you can just position that to the depth that you want. I'm actually going to, if I go to View and Front and just zoom in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put align it so that it's 1 millimeter thick there. So this object at the moment is 2 millimeters thick. In fact, whoops, yeah, it's 2 millimeters thick. If I click on the letter R there, it's 2 millimeters thick. So I'm just aligning it so that it's 1 millimeter thick. Now I've got a feeling that that I might have to change that, because as you can see that's pretty big, they are. So what I need to do is to scale this. If I just switch on screencast keys, so if I press the S key on the keyboard, I can scale my rover there, and I want to scale all my letters the same. So I'm going to type 0.5 to scale it half size, and then press the Enter key. Now whenever you scale objects in Fluid Designer, you always need to do Control A and apply the scale, and you'll see that the thickness came back as we did that. Now if I just go to View and Front again, yeah, I still have got 1 millimeter thick there, and Z is 2 millimeters thick because I applied the scale. So what I want to do really is just move that around and position it so that I can put in the rest of my name on the name tag here. So I'll just leave that as that. So I want to now add a letter O. So it's always File and Append, and I need to just go up through the menu system. So I'm in brush script fonts here, so I want brush script font O, and it's always the object, so it's brush script font O object, and append that from the library. And we've got the same problem here, that it's underneath. Okay, so let's just click on it to highlight it when it's in yellow there. I'm going to press S on the keyboard to scale, and type 0.5 again to scale it, and Control A and just apply that scale. And then if I view it from the front, I want to set this so that it's the same height as the other one. So that's sticking out by 1 millimeter there. and then I can just drag the arrows just to position it. I can move that around a bit later once we've got all the characters in. So I now need the next letter, so File and Append, up through the menu system, and we want brush script font V this time for Rover, so it's the object we want. Brush script font V, append it from the library, same problem as before, let's just move it up. Make sure it's selected with the yellow line around it there, and we're going to scale it, S on the keyboard 0.5 again, and Control A and apply the scale. Just view it from the front again and just adjust it down so that it's sticking out 1 millimeter there. I could have used snap and done it much more accurately, but that should be okay. So put that there. I want an E and an R now, so File and Append again. Back to the main folder, and we want brush script font letter E, object, brush script font E, pen from the library, same old problem. Make sure it's highlighted in yellow, S on the keyboard for scale and then 0.5, Control A and apply the scale. View it from the front again, just line it up there, and then we can just reposition it. Okay, so we've got ROV, we want a letter R again, so again File and Append, and brush script font R, object, brush script font R, and append that from the library, and make sure it's selected in yellow before you press S on the keyboard for scale and 0.5 and enter to apply the scale, and do Control A and apply the changes there. So we've got the letter R. View it from the front again. Let's just line it up, 1 millimeter sticking out, that's okay, and then we just reposition it. Okay, so we've got our rover there now, so we can move that out of the way. Now what we want to do is we want to join these all together. So I'm holding down the Shift key and selecting all of the text for Rover. They're all highlighted now, and then I can join those together. And if I now convert Rover to a mesh and click on the bulldog itself and convert that to a mesh, I can now click on the word Rover, and holding down the Shift key I can highlight my Rover tag and tools, object tools, and join the two together now. So everything should now be as one, and the only thing that we need to do now is to put a hole in it. So if we just go to View and Top, so if we just put a hole up here, and we can do that by doing adding a cylinder. Now the cylinder will appear in the middle of the screen here, so I need to make sure I can select my cylinder, and I just move it up here. Okay, and we just need to check the size of that. Okay, so if we open up the properties panel, so it's 2 by 2 by 2. So let's change that to, we want a 4 millimeter hole. Whoops, why is that not changing? 4 millimeters, so 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters, and we'll just make it 3 millimeters thick. That will be thicker than the object that we've got, deeper than the object we've got, and just do Control A and just apply that scale. And then if we just go to View and Top again, we can now position this where we want to create a hole. Now you do need to remember that you don't want to get too close to the edge here. So I'll do that like that. Yeah, that's okay. And now what I'm going to do, just make sure the cylinder's popping out at both ends. So if I select my rover now, what I'm going to do is to use a modifier, and it's a Boolean modifier we want to use here, and we're going to create the difference between the bulldog, which is selected at the moment, and the cylinder. That should create a hole in the bulldog, so the Boolean operation should just be running there, and you just have to wait until the software does that Boolean operation, or checks that it will work. Shouldn't be a problem. It's not such a complicated object, this bulldog. Just takes a little bit of time though. My slow computer here, I think, is the major issue. Looks like I should have paused the video at this point. Well, it does it now. It's done it now. So what I need to do is to apply that modifier, and you can do that by just going to Tools, Object Tools, and convert it to a mesh. That will apply the Boolean modifier, and it should disappear from the Properties window. And the thing to remember whenever you do a Boolean modifier is you always get an extra copy of the object that you use. So you can see that the Boolean modifier has been applied now. It's disappeared from the Properties panel, so we can close that down. If I just click on Cylinder over here and just move the cylinder out of the way, that's what I mean by the extra copy. We keep the cylinder, but we've created the hole, so what we want to do is to delete that. So X on the keyboard and delete that, and there's our rover dog tag now. So you just need to export that as an OBJ or as an STL file, run it through NetFab Basic, and then if you upload your object to someone like Shapeways, you can get it 3D printed in a variety of materials. Okay, so that's it for this video on how to make your own personalised, in this case, dog tag. But as you can see, we do have a range of animals available, and these don't have to be obviously don't have to be dog tags. The same idea can work for key rings, etc. But as I said, there are a range of animals available if you buy the animal patterns. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you.